This podcast is brought to you by the Environment Institute at the University of Adelaide. For more information, visit our website at www.adelaide.edu.au/environment.
The effect of climate change might mean we will have more warm climate, the more frequent and the more severe heat waves. And meanwhile, we might have the sea level rise, which might bring about some other environmental issues. And we probably will have more severe weather events like floods and storms like currently Queensland and New South Wales are having. And on the other hand, we probably have more droughts and air pollution due to dust and bushfires. So all of these might impact the population health. But in terms of the health effect of climate change, there are two types of the effects, direct and indirect of the effects. When we talk about the direct effects, that means we might have some heat stress which might bring about the increase of hospital admissions and emergency department visits, and increase of the mortality, and increase of the use of ambulance call-ups. And these are heat stress. And meanwhile, we might have more skin cancers and eye cataracts. And of course, there might be increase of the morbidity and the mortality of cardiovascular disease, renal disease, and mental health issues. So all these are direct health effects. And in terms of indirect health effects, well, there might be more deaths related to the flooding. You might get more foodborne disease and waterborne disease due to the flooding. And we might have more respiratory and cardiovascular conditions due to the air pollution, and many other infectious diseases like foodborne disease, vector-borne disease, and waterborne disease. So we have both direct and indirect health effects due to the climate change. Okay, so this is the possible scenarios in summer. So imagine we had 6 consecutive days over 40 degrees this year. So these heat waves might bring about a lot of health issues. There are several groups of people who are at great risks, including the very old people, 75 and above, the very young people, the infants, for example, and low socioeconomic status groups, and also the people with current existing disease, like a lot of chronic disease, cardiovascular disease, for example, and mental health issues, and people who are living alone. This is quite important. And remember, in 2003, Europe had heat waves. In France, for example, during the 1-week heat wave period of time, there are more than 10,000 excess deaths in France. And in 1995, in Chicago, there was another heat wave. Same thing happened. In 2006, in California, there was another heat wave. So all of this has bring about increase the mortality and morbidity. So we conduct studies in Adelaide, analyze the data from 1993 to 2007. We found there was increase of the morbidity, hospital admissions, use of the ambulance call-outs during the period from 1993 to 2007. And especially in our Adelaide study, from 1995 to 2006, we found, compared with the heat wave period of time with non-heat wave period of time, there was an increase of renal admissions. So for the renal admissions, there was about 10% of the increase. For the acute renal failure admissions, increased about 25%. So you could see there was a huge increase of the renal admissions. And same story for the people with mental health issues. So there was increase of mental health admissions in Adelaide during the heatwave period of time compared with non-heatwave periods of time. And Jim probably is very familiar with these figures. So also, there was increase of the use of ambulance service during this period of time, from 1993 to 2005. We do a special analysis. We found there was an increase, 3.6 increase in the ambulance call-outs during the heatwave period of time compared with the non-heatwave period of time. So the areas, from our study, the areas with highest risk in Adelaide is these areas. So all of these give us indication. The heat waves might bring about more challenges to our already overloaded healthcare systems. And in addition to the direct effect, there are some other indirect effects. Infectious disease. So there was a study by someone else that said in Adelaide, in Australia, by 2050, there might be an additional almost 180,000 cases of foodborne poisoning due to the climate change, if no adaptive measurements have been taken. So we conduct a very similar study in Adelaide. We find there was an increase of Salmonella notifications and Campylobacter infections in Adelaide, with the increase of temperature might bring about up to 3% of increase of disease notification. And another type of the disease, infectious disease, is vector-borne disease. Well, vector-borne disease could spread by vectors, like mosquitoes. So this disease, including the yellow fever, West Nile virus, hantavirus, dengue fever, Roseau virus infections, Japanese encephalitis. And Roseau virus infections is the most important vector-borne disease in Australia. So we conduct a study in South Australia. We find the increase of temperature, rainfall are closely associated with the notification of the Roseau virus infection. And dengue fever, well, dengue is not a big issue in South Australia, but it is a big public health issue in Australia, especially in Far North Queensland. And at this stage, well, it is estimated that about 2.5 billion people live in the world living at risk for transmission. And NCEF, National Center for Epidemiology and Population Health at ANU, they conduct studies. So this is the current dengue epidemic in Australia. And these three diagrams are predictions by 2100. So these are different scenarios. So from these three diagrams, compared with this one, we could see there will be a more dengue cases in terms of spatial changes. So in this area, we might see more dengue cases down to south. So the worst scenario here, you could see from Far North Queensland to, well, Central Queensland, over Central Queensland. So we might have more dengue cases as well. So these are health effects, direct and indirect health effects due to the climate change. As I said, the very old people are at great risk. So what do they think about heat waves? So we conduct a survey for two groups. One group is the aging population themselves, to ask them what do they think about the heat waves. And then we ask different stakeholders to ask them what do they think. So these are major findings. So what are the major causes of the heat-related morbidity and mortality? Lifestyles of the old people is one of the concerns. So that a lot of very old people, because of a lot of concerns, say they don't turn on the aircon during the very hot days, just because economic reasons. So I don't have enough money to pay the power bills, so I don't want to do this. And another issue is the anxiety of home inventions. So a lot of old people, especially for those who are living alone, they do not open their windows during the very hot days. As Brendan mentioned, the minimum temperature could be one of the most important risk factors for heatwave-related disease. In the night, during the night time, if you don't open your windows, the fresh air won't able to come in. There could be an issue. And these old people, they do not to open the windows because security reasons. So a lot of issues here. And what are major problems? As mentioned before, heat waves might bring about more hospital admissions, more emergency department visits, more ambulance use. This will be challenging to our already overloaded healthcare systems. So these are one of the issues. And another people mentioned that lifestyle patients lack the leadership, high cost of living, etc. And what can we do? Well, all the stakeholders, like Department of Health, SES, they all agree that education campaigns through the media should be set up to educate the elder people about the health risk of the heat waves. The last slide. We haven't finished that analysis for the 2008 and 2009 heat waves. So these are just a snapshot. There was an increase of services in 2009 heat waves. So I won't read through all of this, but you could see from hospitals, extended care programs, the clinic calls, RDNS, all increased during this year's, the 2009 heat wave period of time.